Please welcome Sean Layden.
Hey guys. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for making the time tonight to come to church. This fulfills your obligation for the coming Sunday, for those of you who need to know that. But thank you for coming out. It's great to see the congregation as large as it is tonight under this single tent. And for those of you who may be a bit apprehensive because you remember that movie Kingsman, it doesn't end that way. It doesn't end that way. So, but no, again, thank you. And as you can see from this evening, here again at PlayStation, we've decided to mix it up a little bit in the way that we're doing our E3 presentation this year. You know, we look at what the stories have we tell and the things that we want to impart to our fans here with us and their fans on the live feed worldwide. And that changes our design ideas around what we can do for this show. So tonight, we're going to have, rather than a bombardment of new creative, we're going to take all of you on a journey deeper into some of the key titles we've talked about before, but we're going to talk about them in a different way tonight.
What's up, game players? How are you guys doing? Oh my gracious. I want to absolutely invite you guys to another special presentation of the Analog Circle podcast. Now, this episode, we have to go over Sony's E3. PlayStation, the one that so many people were looking forward to, including myself. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into this conference. God darn it. So now the conference starts off. I said off. With Mr. Sean Layden coming to the stage, who actually invited, he said a couple of words here and there, welcome. We appreciate you guys coming in. Welcome to church. I didn't understand that, but that's what he said. I said, okay, well, all right, man. All right, whatever. So after that, he says, I want to bring to the stage the composer of The Last of Us. So the composer gets up on stage. He starts playing it wasn't a violin and it wasn't a guitar. I don't know what instrument it is, but it's the Last of Us soundtrack that's actually being played by him live on the stage. Sony has been definitely having this theme for the last couple of E3s. So after all of that show and pony showing and all of that good stuff, no pun intended with that Sony pony stuff. That's bogus. But up next, oh yes, The Last of Us 2 showed up on the stage. It actually started off by showing Ellie, who looks like an adult. I mean, we figured this was going to be the case when they showed her off at PlayStation Experience when she had killed everybody in the house and she was playing the guitar. So they show her as an adult. And my goodness, man, it looks like, hey, man, look, Ellie is grown, brother. And it looks like she has herself a little girlfriend. Oh, the embrace. Oh, the embrace. Oh, it was something else. So after that, the girl saying everybody should be afraid of you, Ellie. Everybody should be scared of you. And Ellie's like, no, I'm just a regular girl. Nothing is wrong. Nothing's going on. But all of a sudden, when that's said, cause Ellie's like, everybody's looking at you. And she tells her that, all of a sudden it's like this flash. I guess maybe forward, maybe backwards in time, where the next scene, it's showing Ellie violently, God darn, I mean violently, slitting some man's throat. I said, God darn, I mean, she's struggling, she's got the knife to him, and she just slit his throat. Jesus, it's so daggone violent. Oh man, my gracious, it's terrible. But it's The Last of Us. We all know what to expect here. So after that goes on, right? She's creeping through the forest, and god dang, let me just say, oh my gosh, the game looks so darn good. I'm gonna take Naughty Dog, man. I don't know who's better out there at game development right now. Because as she's going through the grass, I mean, of course the grass has been did it in Uncharted 4, where it just kind of sways as you walk through it. But looking at it on The Last of Us, god darn. I mean, just the utter detail in this world. When Ellie was running and, she actually has a bow and arrow too. Bow and arrow action is back, god dog it, cause she used it a couple times. But my gosh, the graphical fidelity of this game, the nerve of doggone Naughty Dog, the absolute nerve of them to have such an amazing, detailed game. You could see the reactions in real time, their faces, the little squints of the eyes, and just these different small nuances of, just the character detail that makes the game look so realistic. It was awesome. I mean, it was one scene that stood out to me as we were talking about the game being very violent and, just being The Last of Us, that's all, just being what the game is. When that first scene came up and the guy was being hung and the guy slit him in his stomach and he's, he's like in pain, right? He's screaming out in agony. I mean, you see the intestines come out. I'm like, oh man. Oh, they going for it. Oh man, Naughty Dog is going for all of it. So, seeing this was awesome. It got me so hyped up. I was just in such an amazement of how great the game looked. It looks like this one demo though, and I'm sure this is not the full case, but this demo actually just shows Ellie fighting off humans. And we've seen that for the last couple trailers. It's been a lot of humans. Now, of course, in the Last of Us, The Last of Us Part 1, or the first one, yeah, you did fight some humans. You fought some every once in a while, but you also had the people that were infected that you would be fighting as well. So I think that it's a very, very nice, I can't say if it's gonna be a nice balance of fighting against humans and people who are infected. I don't know yet, but overall, I will say that just the amazing, man, I'm sure you guys saw it just like I did, so you understand what I'm saying when I talk about the detail of The Last of Us 2. But what an amazing job from Naughty Dog. I mean, I don't think we expected anything less, but just the fact that they were able to pull this off was amazing. Absolutely fantastic to see. The only downside to this, this gameplay and the trailer, all of that was buttery sweet. God dang, just just like you're licking frosting off your fingers. It was just sweet. Man, it was good. But the only thing was, and I was hoping for this so bad, but it was no release date. God dang, Sony, no release date. So, we don't know when this is coming out. We got no idea, but nonetheless, I don't take that away from Sony. I mean, we know Sony always plays the long game. We never know when anything is coming out from Sony for the most part. So, I just say all of that to say bravo to Naughty Dog. It looks like you guys are going to have another stellar hit on your hands. And I'm quite happy to have been able to have witnessed this greatness of The Last of Us. Now, after that, things got a little wonky with the conference, in my opinion, because when I looked at the initial place they were in to look at The Last of Us 2, I'm like, God, dog, this is really freaking tight. This looks like a carnival tent, something you would see at a carnival. It didn't look that big, not big like a theater or where Sony is usually, doing their E3 show. So I was like, man, this is weird. So of course they didn't stay in that location. So it was like a break in between and it was like an intermission. I'm like, man, when the world did E3 start doing intermissions out this mother love? What is happening? So as the intermission was happening, that's when a couple other announcements did come out that some of you guys may missed or may not have missed. I doubt that you missed them if you were watching the conference, but they did make another very, very cool announcement as that intermission was going on. Of course, Sean Layden, he was on the other stage of PlayStation talking to the other panel members over there, and he did announce that God of War will have a new game plus mode added later down the road. I mean, we know God of War, doggone amazing game. Absolutely, dog. Game of the generation, I don't know. I mean, maybe? I don't know if I want to go that far yet because The Witcher 3 is still, absolutely amazing to me. And then we got Cyberpunk 2077 coming out. So I don't know. I would definitely say God of War is the game of the PlayStation 4's generation. I'll definitely say that, but the game of the whole generation, that's to be seen. But God dog, what an amazing game though. But that was one of the announcements. The next thing that was shown was, of course, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and they talked about they're gonna have remastered maps, I believe 4 remastered maps, and Black Ops 3 is coming to PlayStation Plus as a bonus game, which is really, really cool. That's a cool announcement. So not everybody has played Black Ops 3. I played it. I thought it was a great game. I loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Now, after that, they showed a montage of course, Tetris. These were the games that were announced the week leading up to E3. It was Tetris Effect, which, I saw it and I'm like, man, that's going to be really cool in VR. It looked just as good as I thought it would. They showed off Days Gone. They showed Thin Mirror. And I believe it was, one more, Beat Saber, but it was one of the games I'm missing that was another VR game. I know the Beat Saber, game is a VR title. So after that, the next game that was shown was, of course, because they have the marketing rights to it, Destiny 2, Forsaken, which is, I guess, the new DLC that'll be coming out. And they did give a date on that. That's going to be out September 4th. So after that, everybody else files into the place. Everybody's ready. Everybody's set. And here we go with me personally, one of my most anticipated games to see out of everything was Ghost of Tsushima. And that, of course, was the next game up. And my goodness, man, oh man, the transition from the cinematic to gameplay seemed seamless. Okay? The game really, I truly mean it when I say this. The game looks awesome. And I remember seeing the scene, you got a horse and you jump on the horse. The horse is at your disposal. You jump on the horse, man, and you start riding through the field, and the field is swaying with the flowers and the white lilies. I don't know what kind of flower it was, but man, it looks so good, man. He was just gaining on the horse, just riding Seabiscuit all the way. So as he's going down and riding him, all of a sudden he comes to people that are hurting somebody on the side of the road. He pulls out his sword. God dang. Man, I mean the combat, brother. This guy's cold-hearted. Cold-blooded. This guy doggone slashed one of the guys. Crossed the stomach. He falls over. He's down on the ground and he stabs him in the back. I mean, man, game looks really, really good. It looks like a real samurai movie. I mean, good gosh, the detail, the darn detail is spectacular. And I'm not gonna stay on it too long because I know you guys have seen it just like I saw it. But man, that last fight scene, good gosh. Did any of you guys think that was real time or pre-rendered? Because this scene was really, 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 really amazing to look at. I mean, for you guys that may not have seen it, okay, the scene is darn something out of a real samurai movie. That it's him and this woman that it looks like they were partners, but the guy, he actually saves one of the guys that turned against her in her village. So she shoots the arrow at him, kind of catches him in the eye. And, he's like telling the guy to run, just get out of here, man. Save yourself. And she's like, we got to scrap it out now. And the scene, I'm going to tell you, it was so reminiscent for me, for any of my old school gamers like myself. It was so reminiscent of seeing the intro of Ninja Gaiden for the first time on the Nintendo. It was just so cinematic. I mean, my goodness, seeing the leaves rustling underneath their feet, seeing the leaves blowing, left and right, all kinds of ways, and them going at it with the combat, the sword combat. Absolutely an incredible scene. So that just got me so pumped up about this game. It looks, man, look, I will say this. The only thing about the game that makes me a little concerned is when you're moving the character around, it looks a little stiff. Now, I don't know if, I don't know how early in development the game is, but that's my only concern. It looks like combat is going to be pretty smooth. I mean, the game looks like, man, it just looks phenomenal. So nonetheless, I'm harping on this way too much. The only other downside to this too, I gotta add, this almost forgot. No release date. No release date again. Sony frick, man. Come on. But nonetheless, I was happy. I was happy to see the game. It looks so darn good. One of my personal most anticipated games on the list this year. So I'm happy to see the game is coming along very, very well. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more coverage of it as the days go on, because E3 officially starts today, which is, what's today? Tuesday. Today, it officially starts. So we'll see a lot more demos, a lot more things coming down the pipe. Outside of that, speaking of things coming down the pipe, I hope they show some more on Cyberpunk 2077. Give us some real gameplay. Come on, CD Projekt Red. Darn. All right. So up next after that, next game that was, shown was called Control. Now, yo. Okay. All right. Now, for any of you guys that saw this game, all right, this was actually the game by Remedy with the code name P7. Anybody out there listening to this, tell me that game doesn't look just like Quantum Break with a female protagonist. Tell me that is not the case. I mean, she was bending things, mind controlling things. I'm like, yo, this is a Quantum Break clone. And it made me wonder, made me say, God dang, I wonder, was this a sequel to Quantum Break? And since Quantum Break didn't do so well, maybe Microsoft said, man, we can't green light this mother lover. We're going to lose more money. I don't know. Probably not the case. Probably not. But we know that this is third party. I don't think this was an exclusive. That was another thing. Sony was just quiet, man. They didn't say exclusive. They didn't say this is from third party. They didn't say if it's a timed exclusive. Those jokers just said, frick it. Let's just go at it. We ain't telling them nothing. So I saw this game and I was like, man, I mean, hey, I was a fan of Quantum Break, so, I mean, I'm gonna pick this up. But, once again, I didn't see a doggone release date, but I believe that is next year. I think the reports, leading up to E3, they did say that will release next year. So, god dang, next year is gonna be stacked the heck up. Hey, whiz. So after that was shown, the next game up was, oh man, this was one that a lot of people were looking forward to. And dag, did it start off with a bang. Alright, the next game that was shown was Resident Evil 2 Remake. And that's coming out January 25th, the way the game started. Of course, it's from a mouse's perspective, and you know, he's rummaging through the cabinets, and you hear the guy saying, "You're under arrest. Don't move." And it's like this big commotion in the cabinets, and the cans start moving around in the cabinets and whatnot. All of a sudden, you see the guy saying, "No, no, no," and he's getting bit by the zombie. I mean, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, games are getting real graphic, brother. I mean, they ripping out jugulars now. I mean, god dang, they going for the gusto on these games now. So after that happened, then the next scene you see, what's his name? Chris Redfield. Was it Chris or was it Leon? I think Leon was the guy that was in, Resident Evil 2, not Chris Redfield. He comes up and he's shooting, pow, 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 just shooting the doggone, zombie. And I'm like, god darn, man, this looks real good. Now, of course, they didn't show any gameplay, but, you can see Ada, she's in the game. And who else was in there? Was it Claire? I think it was Claire. It's been so many years ago since I played Resident Evil 2, but nonetheless, it looks like the whole squad is back, and it's gonna be epic. At least I'm hoping so. I must say though, Capcom, I give them a lot of props, man, because they actually spread the love out. They spread it. You know, they were like, look, okay, look, all right, guys, don't fight. All right, Microsoft, Sony, don't fight. We got a solution. Look, Microsoft will put DMC on your stage, and doggone Sony will put Resident Evil on yours. Okay, everybody's happy. Let's go. It was great. I mean, it was really cool. They're both coming to each one of the platforms. It's another third-party game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they actually remake Resident Evil 2, which, in my opinion, was such an amazing game, and a game that had never been done before, in my opinion. Back when that was released, back in, what was that, guys? Maybe 97, 98? It was a little ways during the PlayStation 1 era. We had never seen a game innovate like that, where you actually could play as two totally different characters with two totally different stories in the same game. The game came with two different discs. So it was like you were getting two games for the price of one. That had never been a thing that we had seen at that time. And we'd be like, man, it's actually a difference. It's some things that are different. So I'm very, very excited about this. Really looking forward to seeing what they've been able to bring to the table 20 something plus years later. And I think it's gonna be absolutely epic. So after they showed that off, next up they showed a game called Trover Saves the Universe. I think this had to do with Bath Guy up in the doggone tub with the bubbles, talking about it's not about me, but yet the camera keeps on panning back to him in the doggone tub. Oh, it's not about me. All of a sudden the doggone TV falls into the tub, and you know that's trouble. He gets zapped to death, and the guy's like, oh no, call 711. We're in the galaxy, and that's the number for emergencies out here. I don't know. The game looks interesting. I believe it's a VR game. Cute little game, I guess. Something I don't know. I might pick it up, brother. Let me get this PlayStation VR. I'll probably be copping a lot of these games, doggone, just because. So we'll see. It looks kind of cool, but anyway, it's not too much more to say about that. But God dang, up next after that happened, Kingdom Hearts shows up again. Kingdom Hearts 3. But this one was very, very, very interesting. This time, they were actually in the Pirates of the Caribbean universe, which, god dang, man, I saw this. I was like, dang, this really looks good. I mean, looking at Jack Sparrow, looking at the whole art style of the game, I'm like, man, this does not look cartoony at all. This looks like this is some real life cinematic kind of feel to it, because most of the Kingdom Hearts stages that we've seen, or worlds, I should say, that we've seen, they've all been, cartoony-ish. We've seen Frost. I think that's the name of it. I haven't kept up with a lot of the new Disney movies, but Frost, I think, was in there. What's the other one? Toys was another universe we saw. Hercules stage, whatever was going on with that guy, that was another one. But they've all had that cartoony look for the first time, and it makes sense when you go to the Pirates of the Caribbean world. It looks really real, and of course it's real because, well, the movie has real people in it. I mean, shoot, that's what it is. But I didn't expect for them to actually go with that art style in that world. So I'm like, geez, it just starts looking more and more appealing to me. I might have to get this. I mean, Kingdom Hearts, like I said, I tried it on the PlayStation 2, and it just wasn't my thing. I just couldn't really get with it. But maybe this one might be my entry point. And that was shown. I thought that was great. And that wasn't the only news that they announced. They also said that they'll be coming out with a limited edition PlayStation 4 Pro. For and the theme, of course, is gonna be Kingdom Hearts based. So, man, I don't know, brother. God dog. I mean, Sony is really pushing this PlayStation 4 Pro. And I gotta say, looking at the games so far, Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2, I have to wonder. Now, I understand a PlayStation 4 Pro isn't like super powerful over the PlayStation 4 vanilla, but it is some power advantages to it. I just wonder how well these games will be able to hold up, on the PlayStation 4 vanilla if, they're showcasing them at such a high level. But then again, playing God of War on the vanilla PlayStation 4 has been just an utterly amazing experience. So I'm sure they'll be able to pull it off. But anyway, I'm sidetracking. My bad. So after that, next up, oh man, this was my second most anticipated game that we're about to talk about now. Next up, this was a huge one, and it was Death Stranding. And they actually showed, which I was a little shocked by, they showed gameplay. And I gotta tell you this, okay, Kojima, this guy is something else. I don't know what Kojima does, with these games. The game looks very good, but man, I'm still confused as ever. I don't know if you're on Earth. I don't know if you're in Mars or outer space. I don't know. It looks like you're playing as various different characters. At one moment you were playing as a female. Next moment you're playing as the guy, I forget his name, the guy from Walking Dead or whatever. And I'm like, man, are you switching protagonists or what? But more interestingly after that, all of these characters seem to be getting hurt. I mean, it showed Norman Reedus. It showed him in the doggone, bathroom with his feet all cut up on the top. His body was like bruised and whatnot. I'm like, man, what's going on? It showed the woman in one other scene where she got her shoe off and she's, pulling at one of her nails on her foot and like rips it off and she looks like she's in pain. Her foot is bloody. I'm like, God dang, man. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that you're traversing a lot of mountains, okay? And I'm like, I know they can't be mountain climbers. That just can't be the case, but as the trailer goes on more and more, you see that baby looking thing again in this little cocoon on Norman Reedus' stomach. He shows that because he's in trouble and they're like, man, you're not going to be able to get out of there. How you going to get out? And he's like, I got an idea. And that light, that thing that was going skew, like making a noise where the light was flickering, it starts showing these, man, I don't know what they are, okay? Some kind of black looking shadowy figures and he's making his way through the terrain and all of a sudden he gets to, looks like close to the end and, they spot him and all of this black tar goo comes up, sucks him down into the ground and, it just cuts. And I'm like, Kojima, I don't know, brother. I'm just as confused as I've always been about this game. So I have no idea what's happening, at all. So that was pretty much the end of that. I don't know how I feel about, doggone Death Stranding. I don't know, man. I mean, it looks interesting, but I don't know if it's a game I'm gonna want to really play. I don't know, man. I would love to get you guys' opinions on that, but shoot, for me, I'm just, man, I don't know. But anyway, after that, they did show, Team Ninja. They're actually, making Neo 2. And I must say this for both Neo, whatever you want to call it, and Death Stranding. Neither one of these games have a release date. God dang, man, no release date at all. So up next, of course, was the finale for Sony's show, and that, of course, it was 4 games, and the 4th game was Spider-Man. Without a doubt, Spider-Man was shown, and as always, man, they started it off, not as always, I wanted to say the game looked fantastic, as it's always looked so far, but they started it off in a prison, and Spider-Man's doing what he does, he's web slinging and wrapping people up, doing what he gotta do. The combat looks so doggone good. Man, it looks so good, man. It looks so smooth. Looks like the controls are gonna be fantastic. Gameplay is gonna be great. Fast paced. It just looks great. But the thing that I saw that was very, very cool to me was they had Electro in the game. Not only did they have Electro, they had Rhino. They not only had Rhino, they had doggone Scorpion and Vulture out in this mother lover, along with, I forget the other, character's name. He's not a well-known character like these guys, but he's in the game as well. He was in the first trailer. He has that mystical kind of looking power. And, he works at the soup kitchen or whatever with Aunt May. Can't remember his name, brother. Shoot. It's really, really escaping me right now. But, they, showed all of these characters. I'm like, God, dog. And the fight scenes just look fantastic. I'm like, man, is this the Sinister Six? Oh, is it the Sinister Six? But it's just so many different villains in this game. I really thought it was just going to be the main villain that we saw in the first trailer where you're chasing the helicopter down. But they come out the gate with all of these guys and I'm like, oh man, if I wasn't already bubbling with excitement for this game. They've just taken it to another level. So, of course, we all know that Spider-Man is coming out September 7th, and it's gonna be a romping good doggone time. And that was where Sony ended their conference, and that's when I was like, man, shoot. I did say shoot. I thought that overall, Sony's conference, it was good, okay? It was okay. They did it, to be fair, to be absolutely fair about Sony's conference. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. It was us, the game players, that were, some of us were hyping it up, saying, well, they're going to have a lot of surprises. They're going to have a bunch of other announcements, at the conference as well. It's no way they're going to just show off 4 games and that's it. And to be fair, they didn't. They definitely had announcements. Like I said, Resident Evil 2 remake was in there. Neo 2 was in there. They went over their VR catalog. So, they went over the other game by Remedy. Excuse me, y'all. By Remedy. I forgot the name of that game, but they went over all of those. And to, be fair, they did more than what they said they were gonna do. Now, was it enough? It was called Control, by the way, the game that I was talking about. But was that enough to make for a fantastic E3? For me, everybody, every single year, this is the thing. Everybody always pits Sony and Microsoft against each other. And that's only normal because they are the two big dogs in the ring. Nintendo, not at all discrediting them, but they've already said on record that they're not competing with those platforms. They're doing their own thing. So that's why I'm, kind of taking them out of this equation. But when you compare both of those conferences together, when you compare them together, to one another, I have to say, man, Sony, to me, look, I understand that Microsoft, they showed off a lot of third-party stuff. They did. They showed off a lot of third-party stuff, but they also had surprises in their conference, to be fair. Microsoft picking up 5 studios, yeah, I understand that's not the most exciting news to a lot of game players because they want the games. That's all they want, and that is truly what it's about, And Microsoft didn't have the games coming this year. Like I said on that podcast, they have games coming next year. So that's a bit of the downside for them. With Sony, the only game that we have a release date on is Spider-Man. Outside of the other 3, we don't know. Well, I should say outside of Spider-Man, we don't know when the other 3 are coming. They might be 2020, not 2020. Well, I don't know. Maybe 2020. Nobody knows. Now, I understand Sony has some other things coming down the pipe, but we're just concentrating on E3. I gotta give the edge to Microsoft, man. Microsoft just had a full stocked and locked show. And I understand not everybody's gonna feel the same way, but man, Microsoft just showed off a ton of stuff. And next year, like I said, if you can ride it out until next year, a lot of good stuff is coming out from 2019, hopefully on up into the future with them having those 5 studios. It's just a lot more to look forward to in the future with Microsoft. We also thought that on the Sony stage, everybody said this, including myself. I was convinced that we were going to see Red Dead Redemption 2 on their stage. That didn't happen. And man, that's what I was really, really holding out for. I'm like, please show Red Dead 2, please. And it didn't happen. And with Microsoft, when everybody was saying, including myself, I was hoping it was going to be true, that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to show up on their stage, even though, look, granted, it's a third-party game. It's going to be on both consoles. I get that. But Microsoft showed up. Now, even though it wasn't gameplay, to be fair, at least we got a look at what the game is possibly going to be. So it just seems like Microsoft was really out there working hard to get the job done. It's a lot of people out there that are still hating on Microsoft. I was hating on Microsoft up until the E3 conference. I was pissed at doggone Phil and his administration over there at Xbox because I'm like, man, y'all just are not trying. Sony's over here killing it. They're giving us fantastic games on this side. What are you guys doing? But after E3, I'm like, dag, man, they bought 5 more studios. Jeez, that really shows commitment. And one of them are Ninja Theory. All right, look, I don't know if I would be as excited if Ninja Theory wasn't in the mix. I gotta be completely truthful with you guys. But knowing that they got that studio, man, I'm like, I think y'all gonna be just fine. It's gonna take a while. It's all good. Do what you gotta do. But I thought, me personally, Microsoft won this year. I say all of that to say, I truly believe, in my opinion, Microsoft won, not by a mile, but by a long shot. It was a much more, I guess, not impactful conference, but it was just a lot more action packed, but I don't know. That's my opinion. Sony overall, I had a good time with that conference, but just, man, it was cool, man. It was cool. It was good. I mean, if I had to give them a rating, and I know y'all gonna think I'm biased as heck out there. I know it. I know. But I'm gonna give Sony, I'm gonna give them a C+. I'm gonna give them a C+. Not because the games were bad. The games were really great looking. I mean, Death Stranding, I still don't know what that's about, but that's beside the point. They just didn't have a lot of, things that were just absolutely like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. It was a safe E3. It was nothing out of the box. It was nothing we didn't really know about. Everything was on the table. And like I said, to Sony's credit, they told us what it was going to be. So we can't be but so mad at Sony because they told us what it was. But I don't know. I want to get you guys' opinion. Look, you can either do that by 2 different ways. If you want to participate, you can call in at 443-216-9934 and leave a voicemail, or you can reach the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and once again, thanks for tuning in. And I'll be covering the other conferences as well, give you my thoughts on those in an upcoming episode, because Bethesda, I thought they did great. So with that being said, you guys take care, and remember, it's not about the consoles, it's about the games. So with that being said, as always, you guys take care, be safe out there,